bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out, bring 'em out.
Ladies and gentlemen, get ready for Bring 'em Out with your hosts, Joel Richardson and Alan Hill.
Hey everybody, we're here at the Sunnybrook Ballroom inside the Speakeasy for another episode of Bring 'em Out. I'm Alan Hill, here with SoulJoel himself, Joel Richardson. We're flying solo today, and we want to give a special shout out to our producer, Jesse Marchese, and his podcast, The Crumb Show Podcast. Do I have that right, Jesse? All right. It is well worth a watch. I've checked it out, and it's excellent. So give it a look.
I was a guest.
Joel was a guest. It's a great one to start with.
Yeah. It was great. No, but we appreciate Jesse's hard work behind the scenes.
Absolutely, bro.
It was his idea because I used to do a podcast called The Comedy Point. But I was doing many different hats. I was producing it, editing it. And when Jesse said, you should start a podcast and we'll call it Bring 'em Out. And I'm like, that is perfect because I want to reinvent the podcast. I don't want to start it again with a different host of the same podcast I used to do. This is a way to start fresh. And if anybody's been to a show, Bring 'em Out is the song that I come out to.
Anybody that's been to SoulJoel show knows Bring 'em Out.
Yeah. And then with the Sunnybrook Ballroom, over the last year, my mom, anytime she was getting a sign, would listen to Sinatra's My Way. And that's why we added My Way to it.
I love that addition, and it made perfect sense after the struggle for that prior year.
Yeah, and then not knowing where we're going to end up, and that's why, and when Jesse came to this, he's like, you bring people out, not just the talent, but also the audiences. And so here we are.
Isn't that cool?
But we want to go into a little bit of what happens behind the scenes, because since we've done a Just Us episode, we've had a lot of stuff happen.
Big time stuff.
Yeah. Now I want to ask, because a lot of people come up and they just think that they see Joel at a show. They don't see Joel behind the scenes. They don't see all the different hats, even though I'm not ever wearing one.
Right.
I wear a lot of different hats, a lot of different roles. Sure. They think I just show up like, here's the audience, here's the comics. You put it together, they see fun-loving Joel, or maybe they see stressed-out Joel. Right. I don't know what they're seeing. Chris Roach even joked around about it, that he goes, it was nice to see that you're not a sweaty mess running all over the place, and I've actually delegated that seeing people do other things, and I'm trusting to take some stuff off my plate. But now that you've been to shows for 3 years, what's your impression of me at a show? Feel free to be as open and honest as you want.
Well, it is absolutely priceless.
Yeah.
I think we talked a little bit about this in one of the other podcasts, but not this part specifically too much. When I met you, because I rolled in an hour and a half early or something.
Yeah.
I'm major OCD. and
I'm trying to be polite, but probably not ready.
Yeah. Totally.
Even though it was a deserted sand lot.
Your sister's still pulling sand out of the truck, I think,
Check 1, check 2. Oh, hello.
But it was a little microcosm of what it's like with you at shows, which is somehow you manage to give everybody, you make everybody feel like you're giving them your full attention when.
But it's not true?
Absolutely it's not true. Because it couldn't possibly be true with all the shit you have to deal with.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just couldn't,
And I try to not look over people's shoulders, but it's constantly chaos.
Well, you do a real good job of it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like you really do. Like it's you make people feel welcome, man. And even somehow you're still doing it when you're rolling out the numbers that are starting to come out now. You know what I mean? It's
Bring them out.
Bring them out. They are coming.
Yeah. I'm Sam. Cheers.
Yeah.
Behind the bar. All right. What's your problem? What's going on?
Perfect.
Sit down, Norm. Perfect. Sit down.
That is perfect. But yeah, it's fascinating to watch because there's pre-show Joel, there's show Joel, and there's post-show Joel. You know what I mean? And it's all slightly different because of the different things that, all the stresses that go along with all of those things.
Yes.
And pre-show Joel is, if you want to talk to pre-show Joel, you better get there at least an hour, 15 minutes early.
Okay.
After that, it's like we've talked about.
Yeah.
You talk to Joel in phrases.
Okay. Well, that's what's so funny is I joke around with comedians because at a certain point you're like, no, they're going to show up for work. because no show, no dough.
Right.
But that in the comedy business, that doesn't always mean it. There's been comics that sometimes they flake or they don't, and I constantly have to check in with them.
Well, I won't bring up any specific names unless you want to, because you'll know who I'm referencing. But I do remember one from Rofo that was quite challenging. There was a request for a bottle of liquor. There was some threatening things from an agent.
Yes.
We won't bring up
No.
specifics, but it was a fascinating eye opener to me for what you have to deal with in that world. I had no clue, man.
Right. Well, I start texting the comics, and when we're joking around, I use the power of laughter, and I'm like, by the way, this is paranoid producer Joel. I go, I can't wait to see you, but paranoid producer Joel just had to check in and make sure you're on your way. Yeah, stuck in traffic, no problem, but are the wheels in motion for you to come to Pennsylvania? Can't wait for you to be here. And one of the last year when we were at Westover, in between, actually now it was just when we left Royersford. It was Black Friday, and we had Derek Gaines.
Oh yeah.
Right. So on Black Friday, we had Derek Gaines.
Yes.
Okay, and Derek, he had headlined in Royersford under the Dome. We brought him back a year later, and I didn't have his cell phone number, so I sent him a message on Instagram early in the day, like around 12 o'clock, because I don't bother comedians in the morning, as we talked about with similar to your band schedule.
Absolutely.
And
people who have perform for a living.
Yeah.
They generally get up later than most.
Right. Exactly. So then all of a sudden, I don't hear from him like for a few hours. So I'm like, Derek, this is my number. I was like, could you please call me? Yeah. So he calls me and he goes, I messed up. I don't know what he did, but he typed in SoulJoel's, and he ended up in Drexel, like in Philadelphia, near Drexel University. Ooh. Yeah, some other Schuylkill Avenue or Schuylkill Road, whatever, where we were at Westover. Okay, so I had a couple of comics that stopped by. I had I used to do extra spots and extra time, but still, he was like an hour away, and he was like jetting, right? So I go on stage knowing I gotta spend 10 minutes in between comics. Okay, my stepdad, former Navy, CB, and retired chief of police. So he's got that, the military and police background. So he's outside, and Derek pulls up, gets out of the car, and like puts his hands on his hip, and he goes, "Man, I should not have smoked that hash with my mom earlier."
With my mom.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and my stepdad goes, "Derek, get in here now. You got to go on stage." And he goes, "Man, that does not sound like the Joel I talked to on the phone earlier." And it was because it wasn't. And it was so. And then he goes on stage and crushes for an hour and 19 minutes.
Wow.
And totally made it better.
Wow.
But like the mild stroke that I had going, these people came out to see him. You know, they came out because Derek, you know, he's been in King of Staten Island with Pete Davidson and doing so many different.
Derek's great, man.
Derek is great, but it was crazy, right? And I'm like, unbelievable. But I'm like, this is what.
Hard.
Yeah, this is what, and that's honestly a lot of times why I laugh so hard, because all that stress then can be relieved.
Well, that's cool, because that brings me back to SoulJoel, which I love SoulJoel.
Right.
You're not talking to Joel during the show. If you talk to anybody during the show, you're an asshole, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
But
thank you. A lot of other people don't get that either.
Yeah, remember that. We're going to do a whole thing about comedy etiquette at shows at some point on one of these episodes, too, that I am big on.
Just not during the movie.
Yes, right.
Before or after.
Right.
Those 90 minutes when everybody's talking to it on a microphone, don't be talking in my ear.
Yeah, man. You got to
Unless it has something to do with the show.
Right. If it's something, right. If it's business, you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
Right. But SoulJoel's awesome, because it's, first of all, it's always fun to see how long you're going to last in the room before an obligation tears you away for at least 5 minutes. But then that laugh. You know what I mean? Like, everybody that's been to a SoulJoel show knows that laugh.
Yeah.
And
right.
And the timing of it is awesome. I mean, you know, it's like, I have a distinct laugh.
Right.
But you have a distinct laugh with timing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wait for it.
Yeah.
Wait for it. Yeah. And he did it. Well, Jewel, another part of our team, I'm a member
Jewel.
of our team that joined since we came to Sunnybrook. She said when her mom came to Brewer, and it was Jewel's weekend, birthday weekend.
Oh, yeah.
She was talking to me and then went to Jewel and goes, talking to Joel at a show, is it like talking to a refrigerator that's running 24/7? Now, I understand. And it's not that I don't agree, because I do, and I get it. And there's certain times at the end of the day, I'm frazzled, and it just doesn't equate. I don't get it. But to then break down the fourth wall and peel the onion, the layer of the onion, this is what I was talking about. Jewel had texted me that she needed 6 tickets. It was a sold-out show. And I was like, that's fine. I was like, there's a few cancellations. I'll squeeze you in.
Yeah.
All right? Her mom shows up and goes, we have 10. Another mild heart attack. I'm like, well, I don't know where we're going to have these chairs, without explaining to me that 4 people had bought online and the original 6 needed to buy at the door that Jewel had talked to me. But the new number, because that's what we need. Because there's a lot of people come in by themselves, comedy fans.
Absolutely.
And they're like, 1, please. Then all of a sudden they'll tell the seaters, 19. That's the number we need.
Yeah.
Not that you came by yourself, but that you're meeting a group of 19 people.
Right, exactly.
That way we don't have 19 different people reserving 20 seats.
Totally, man.
Because then that's 400.
Right.
And no
That's
one
a whole
else can
different
sit
thing.
down.
Right, exactly.
That's the number we need.
Exactly.
So it just, it threw me without telling me, oh, by the way, 4 people bought online. I'm not a psychic.
Right.
Yeah, I'm producer Joel.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's priceless, dude. That's priceless.
But it was, so the biggest shows that we did in Royersford were 400 people. So now you're doing 2.5 times that for Brewer.
Incredible.
1,000 people.
Incredible.
To have that, and now it's 11,000 square feet ballroom. And acoustically it was built so that you don't even need speakers. You can stand on stage with the ceiling, the roof, perfectly here in the back. 1,000 people, obviously, we're powering it with 2 speakers.
Yeah, that's amazing, yeah.
But to have Brewer on there.
And talk about a guy that wouldn't need the speakers.
Wouldn't need the speakers at all.
What a beast Brewer is,
Yeah.
man.
And on his rider, it's water, because he likes to coat his throat, and backup microphones.
That's the funniest thing ever. And then you needed it at one of the shows, right?
Well, that's the punchline. Thank you, Alan.
Not a professional comedian.
Yeah. Well, every once in a while, let's set the scene a little bit.
Let the story play out, Alan.
Yeah. But instead of 8 minutes, let's just get right into it. Let's make this 8 seconds. Well, I hope you enjoyed the podcast. That is it for us.
If I ever got up on stage, it would just be like 30 seconds of punchlines.
For questions, comments, concerns, your thoughts. So, and he literally, the first time, it was like, listen, I'm a little rough on the microphone, so please have a backup. Now, this time, because he was the one that sold out the most shows over the pandemic. We did 12 shows.
Yeah.
And then we did 2 last year, and then 2 this year. So this was literally our 16th show together. And it
incredible.
was Shannon, our event coordinator, and Ronan, who interned and now is working full time at SoulJoel's, picked a microphone that turns on and off. They set up, wonderfully done. I said, why did you pick that microphone that turns on and off? Because if it's not tonight, it's tomorrow. It's not going to turn on. I go, Brewer's going to destroy this microphone. We made it through Thursday night. I don't know how we did it, but it was fine. Because he does a lot. Like, he literally scuffs his knee, and it sounds like he's booting a soccer ball. I don't know how he does it.
It's unbelievable,
But the man is so charismatic and animated. So I'm in the back. Someone's talking to me, not following proper etiquette. And I hear,
At the time.
Sorry, Joel. I started sprinting because I knew. With the way he roasts me, and there's no other reason that he would say sorry except the microphone is not working. After the show, I talked to him. I'm like, hey, man, sorry about that microphone. And he goes, nah, that's on me. He goes, I was rough on that thing. And Jaden, our new videographer, caught the clip. And it literally looked like Jim was committing murder
Yes, it's a great clip.
by killing the stool. And then all of a sudden he goes, sorry. Oh, and then you can just tell it's not going on. And we had CJ, shout out to CJ Santangelo, who was the front man to the band that played that night before and after Brewer. It was the Hot Sauce Junkies. So they had their own sound guy. So it was their sound guy. He already saw it, had another microphone. Now, I didn't like that he chose one of the band's mics. I don't give a crap if they are destroying my stuff.
Right.
But I'm like, God forbid, Brewer now ruins their microphone. Now I'm down a hundo. Yeah.
That's priceless.
Oh boy.
Wow.
Yeah. So we literally did that and was fine. But Brewer's like, oh yeah, the sound guy goes, yeah, no, I've seen guys do impersonations before. We'll be fine. And they're like, no, you haven't worked with Brewer. And there you go.
Right.
Yeah.
Brewer's one of a kind, man.
But it was great to see 1,000 people in one space.
That's so cool, man.
I've been at other venues, but never one of mine.
Yeah.
Not my show.
Well, and what was you were talking? Well, you told me at one point about your goal when you first opened the club back in the day in 2019, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
So our general manager, Joey St. John, who we nicknamed when we referred to a lot as the Saint.
The Saint.
He was my first employee that I hired when I opened up SoulJoel's. Came with me from Valley Forge Casino, where I was for 7 years, and we sat down with my sister, who we call the Queen of the North. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep. And so we sat there, and our inside capacity, the original SoulJoel's in Royersford, was 150 people. Mm-hmm. So we said, late January, maybe early February, we sat down and we made our goals. And we always do this behind the scenes. We just don't, we don't announce them, but it's something we do for our business. Yeah. Yes, to shoot for. So we said if we sell out one show Friday, one show Saturday, and we do that for a 4-week time period over any given month, that would be 1,200 people. Mm-hmm. And I thought to myself, wow, that is crazy. I don't understand how we could do that. Because at Valley Forge, I was doing it once a week. Wow. Now we're doing it twice a week for the whole month. And I'm like, it's just more. And I'm like, how are we going to keep up? How are we going to get these people to come out? Is there enough comedy fans in the area? You're competing with all these other venues, and I'm just a small mom and pop place. How are we going to do? And now with that 1,200 people, we did that in one night with Brewer, one night with Aunt Mary Pat.
Incredible.
And we made it 20 with the first week when we had Brewer here, because we had 500 people Thursday, 1,000 people on Friday. We brought in 2,200 people for that week, and the following week with Aunt Mary Pat was 1,100. Dave Smith doing 2 shows Friday, 2 shows on a podcast Saturday, and all the other events with bingo and our open mic and line dancing. We had 2,600 people. So between the 2 weeks, it ended up being almost 5,000 people, which, taking the numbers in Royersford, one show Friday, one show Saturday, would have been 4 months.
Oh, that's incredible, man.
That we did in 2 weeks.
That is absolutely incredible.
And it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how we just took over this place October 31st, and it takes $25,000 to keep this place a week running. Whoosh! Between the electricity bill and the
my head just exploded.
Yeah, the electricity bill and the insurance and the payroll and mortgage, everything. It's every little thing.
You jumped right into the deep end, brother.
Yeah. But we're doing it.
And it's working.
It's working.
It's a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah.
It's been, I've been here, been coming since, day one of this, obviously. And
Barnum and Bailey.
It's
happening.
It's amazing to see, man. It's amazing. It really is, I mean, the hard work's paying off, brother.
Yeah. Well, we just booked our first mail review.
Oh, well, sweet. I'll be front and center. You finally dialed into my market.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much time we have left on the podcast, but you got your one funny sniping. I don't know how much more time we have, but that was hilarious. Boy, you're dialed in. Yeah, I posted it. I was like, this is going to be unbelievable. And we're bringing different people out in a different show.
Yeah.
And one of the guys, shout out to Dan, and he commented on it. He goes, there's certain things that are guaranteed in life. He said, "Death, taxes, and a mail review on April 15th at SoulJoel's."
That's awesome.
Daniel Dreyer, yeah, it was so.
Oh,
funny,
that's great.
man.
That's great.
Yeah, and it was also funny to see. I'm just thinking about his girlfriend came to Aunt Mary Pat, and the one wife of one of the husband of one of the wives that came dropped off all the women.
Okay.
And then he was coming to pick them up.
Mm-hmm.
They're huge comedy fan. Listen to all the podcasts. They always let me know the first thing, what's going on, right? So they didn't know that Christina Hutchinson was coming to open up for Aunt Mary Pat.
Oh,
we had her here. Oh, you may not even know this.
No, I didn't know this.
Oh. Okay, so
Breaking news for me.
Breaking news. So, Canal Aurora helped us
Love Canal.
Found out that Christina wasn't booked that night.
Mm-hmm.
She was originally from the Philadelphia area. Showed off her Wawa tattoo.
Oh, I love it.
And I was like, that was amazing. She goes, yeah, I'm letting them know that I'm one of you.
Yeah, that's right.
Like that's what this is, you know?
Yeah. Right in.
Yeah, she's not from Delco, but let's be honest, that's a Delco thing.
That's a Delco lifetime pass.
Right. So came down, and as long as we didn't announce her, because she's taping her new album at Helium.
Wow.
In May, so we kept it under the radar.
Wow.
But when I announced, first of all, Nate Marshall went on, and Nate Marshall, one of our favorites here at SoulJoel's, he was hosting for Dave Smith, but I let him go up, and he's touring right now with Shane Gillis.
Is he? That's great.
Yeah, I put him on, and then when I said, please welcome Christina Hutchinson, there was like 50 people in the room that screamed so loud because they're huge fans, and they didn't expect it. They thought I was just going to introduce Aunt Mary Pat.
Right.
And people came up to me, they're like, what the? And then you could see, like, when we had Louis C.K., the social media were like, what? Like, you should have announced it. I would have bought tickets. Well, first of all, the show was already sold out.
Right.
And it was a special guest. That's what happens with a special guest.
Right.
You don't announce it.
Right.
That's not how this works, but that's why you have to come to SoulJoel's, because you don't know who might.
miss an event.
Don't miss an event.
This is the kind of thing that goes down around here, people.
Yeah, and she had a blast.
That's
dude.
so cool, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like you're pulling like seller stuff, man, where, you go to see the lineup of 10 killers, but then Chris Rock stops in or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so another thing behind the scenes. So Dave Smith's here, right?
Yeah.
And we posted the video of last night at SoulJoel's just to get a clip of like what's going on.
Yeah.
And he goes, I don't know what's going on in there. And he was talking about the ballrooms, and no matter what you say, it's undeniable that many people and the energy and to feel that. The parking lot's packed. And then we have the comedy club room, which seats a fewer amount of people. But honestly, if you take the 5 shows, he did 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday, and the podcast, the numbers were comparable, but it was spaced out over a whole weekend, not one event.
Sure.
Right? But he goes, if we're comparing it to basketball, we're down by 80. I'll tell you that. It was so fun. So afterwards, he's one of the head in the Libertarian Party, right? And he had 2 guys that are like helping. I think it's called the caucus part of the Libertarian Party. It's another branch of it, and they're talking to Dave, potentially running or whatever, and they're at the end of the bar, and my event coordinators are leaving. They're like, "Is it cool? Like, we're about to leave. Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know this couple. They drove all the way down. The wife and I share a birthday. It's a guy that they drive all the way down from the Poconos. Aaron and Deb.
Right on.
And so they're hanging out. I go, I know them. That's DJ Bob, and those are like Dave's guys. I don't know exactly who they are. And then I found out they're head of the Libertarian Party.
Right on.
All of a sudden, DJ Bob goes, "You're one of the head of the Libertarian Party? I'm a registered Libertarian. No shit." And I'm like, "He is so fantastic. You have no idea."
DJ Bob is the man.
Yeah.
DJ Bob is the man. When he got down on one knee in front of Chris Roach when we were recording last week.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. That was so funny. And so he is now DJing before the shows, and it's helped with the energy. And I'm not just playing an iPod list or off iTunes, whatever. Like, he's literally filling the room.
No, Bob's a real DJ.
And he's pumping it up.
He's doing mixy things and
Yeah.
fancy DJ
Exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
Last weekend he was playing like Irish music for St. Patrick's Day.
Nice.
And he's got this whole theme going. Well, when I'm checking people in or talking to people before the show, he'll text me like, "Hey, sound check, time check." Because are we starting the show at 7? Rarely do.
Right.
Are we starting the show at 7:05 or 7:10? And I guess I didn't respond to the text, which I normally do. I don't know. What was I not looking at my phone for 90 seconds?
What happened?
What happened?
Must have been charging it.
Yeah. And then Bob goes, and he goes, time check. I go, did you text me? He goes, I did. And I felt so bad because Bob's very regimented.
Totally, man. No, you just if you let him know what's happening, he's on the money.
You and I are improving.
Right.
We'll wing it. We'll figure it out.
Right.
With Bob, he's like, listen, this is how I'm starting my day.
Right.
This is how I'm going to end my day. We're going to do it. We have to have some order. You animals.
Yes. Oh, man. Oh, I love Bob.
So let's do, I want to do a new segment called Silly Questions.
Oh, yeah.
With Alan, because Alan is over prepared for every episode. He literally pull out your readers, which you remember.
I forgot them, but I wrote the questions.
Pages and pages of notes, and we never get to them. So I feel bad that like you're like, dude, I studied for this exam. I was ready to ace it, and he never even asked me one question. Now these are going to be the questions that you asked me, but let's get into it.
I love it. I love it.
Alan Hill, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. So these are just some fun, silly questions.
Just sniper punchlines at me. Start slaying.
Start slaying. Go. Dance, monkey. Dance.
Line number 2.
Hey. We're ahead of the curve.
Well,
baby.
let's just end the episode now.
I'm just going to go to sleep.
That was a mic drop.
All right.
Oh, boy.
Let's see here. Question number 1. First concert you ever went to?
Buddy, I am afraid to say this.
Please tell me it's like Tiffany or...
It's Boys to Men.
Oh, beautiful.
Beautiful, yeah. I think I told you guys the first album I ever bought was Mariah Carey because I went to this like flea market and it was printed on the back. It was when you bought a cassette for $4.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to get them all the time. But Boys to Men. So this is why I ended up getting into. I sang in choir.
Oh, no kidding.
All 4 years of
Did
high
not
school.
know this.
I was a
Okay.
tenor too. Yeah, higher voice but a little lower. Yeah, almost a man. Are you a bass? Certainly not. So I sang for I needed a performing arts. So that credit, whatever that credit was that I needed, it was an elective.
Okay.
And there was a couple of choices, and this one fit my schedule. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna do it. But in the meantime, that I wanted to be those guys, and I loved like the R&B and that singing. So that was my mom brought my sisters and I, and that was a concert. Yeah.
Love it. How old were you at the time? Ish.
So I was probably like 12 or 13.
Oh, that's great.
I was not yet in high school. It was middle school for sure.
That's great.
Yeah, and they had already had like a number of from Philadelphia. Who knows how many. It was the old Spectrum.
Dude, that's priceless. My first concert was at the old Spectrum.
Oh, rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? What was it?
This is where our different. We have a lot of similarities, me and this guy. A lot. But we do have some differences, and this is where one of them will show.
Yep.
Mine was Little Feat opening up for the Allman Brothers.
I didn't have to laugh because Alan laughed at his joke harder than I did. If I tried to laugh, he'd be like, "Stop faking it. This is how you laugh at my own joke." Why don't you give me something? Well, Alan,
I'll just take care of it myself.
like
buddy.
a lot of other things. Yeah. Insert other joke here. Let's just keep this friendship going, and I'll say goodnight.
Woo! Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, the old Spectrum.
Little different.
Oh my God, that's awesome. Okay, so then what's the last concert you saw that you didn't promote yourself?
Man, that I didn't promote myself.
Right, not the Rusted Root Duo or anything.
Man, I'd have to think about that, man. I don't know if I've been to one in so long. It probably was before it was probably years ago. It was a country music guy down in Atlantic City at the Hard Rock.
Okay.
I'm blanking on the name, but it was 3,000 people.
Okay.
I think it was 2018 or 2019.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on. I was curious because I'm curious. Well, I'll get to question 2.
I was with someone that had free tickets, and I went, and I just didn't. I ended up not having a show that weekend.
And he said, let's just do this.
Came
up and let's roll.
up and I was like, all right, I'll roll.
Right on.
But it wasn't anything planned.
And it wasn't somebody you would have sought out to go see.
I wouldn't have sought out. Yeah, exactly. And a lot of times, man, and running now events 5 or 6 nights a week, I've almost become a homebody where I don't want to go out.
Well, that makes sense.
And even if I'm going to another event, I'm still exerting that energy, being around that energy, where I have to almost cut myself off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's interesting. That ties into the next question I wanted to ask, which was, well, you've talked on the podcast, I'm pretty sure, about your first comedy show, the one you went to at the Cellar with that crazy lineup. We talked about it on the pod?
That was my first show at a comedy club.
Oh, was there a show prior to that?
Carlin.
Oh, shoot, I forgot. I think I did know
No,
that.
it's okay.
Talk about that on the pod,
I saw him at the Grand Ole Opry down in
Get out of town.
Nashville.
Wow.
On that road trip
with
my roommate after freshman year, so I was 19 years old. It was 1999. I don't know, obviously, who opened for him, but it was my roommate's brother that brought us, got tickets, again, just brought me. And it was my first comedy show, seeing one of the arguable, regardless if you like Carlin or not.
He's on Mount Rushmore.
He's out Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, there's no debating that.
Yeah, right. Saw him, and I was like, this is amazing.
That's incredible, man.
Yeah, that was my first show, and then saw Chris Rock.
Were you like a comedy nerd growing up, or did you
No.
kind of fall into it?
Fell into it.
And Carlin seeing that Carlin show kind of lit a fire?
Yeah, well, and then on the follow-up, so seeing Chris Rock and being in that intimate environment,
Since I brought it up again, just run that lineup one time.
I'm like, this is what being in New York's all about. You never know who might drop in.
Well,
but the lineup was Greg Giraldo, rest in
killer.
peace, Dave Attell, Louis C.K., Wanda Sykes, Lisa Lampanelli, and then Keith Robinson was hosting. And literally goes, you guys have been a great crowd. Please welcome. Just dropped in Chris Rock.
That's incredible.
And I'm like 10 feet away.
It's incredible.
And he was working on his new special, but this is in the height of all those specials. He was in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Chris Rock show was out.
Yeah, Bring the Pain was just came out a year or two before, maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, just amazing.
Dude. Let me ask you this, because I never asked you this about that. I've heard, and I don't know if this is something he was doing back then or not, but I've heard Mark Norman talk about how when he's running his new sets, he'll go up and do very little performing. Because he'll prowl the stage. I mean, he prowls the stage like a panther when he's doing his specials and real tours. But apparently, like Mark Norman was saying, in the last 10 years or so, he's been going up and he'll just almost monotone, just recite the material.
Now, so it was so long ago that I don't remember that, and I probably would look at comedy differently now.
Yeah.
But I don't think that had started yet.
Right on.
Because this is 24 years ago.
Yeah.
1999. And I remember him being high energy.
Right on.
Like me during or before. I don't mean to compare myself, but like caffeinated Joel.
Yeah.
Shouldn't drink Red Bull, Joel. Wow. So definitely not monotone.
Right on.
Whether he was, I don't even remember him having a notepad. Mm-hmm. But again, it's so long ago, and I don't know if I would remember that.
Yeah, I dig that. That makes sense.
Because
that
I wasn't the comedy nerd that I am now.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so then my next question then that ties into that concert thing. What's the last comedy show you paid for?
Oh, man.
And how long ago would that have been?
I don't want to brag. But the kid doesn't pay for tickets.
This is part of why I asked this question.
Yeah. Well, so to be honest, it was when I was waiting tables, and it was in between when I was moving from New York to South Jersey.
Okay.
And I was waiting tables, and I was good friends with the general manager, and she brought me to my first show with the Impractical Jokers.
Oh, wow.
And I saw him down at the Borgata.
Okay.
And so this is probably 2015, 2016. Mm-hmm. And so she bought the tickets. So technically I didn't buy them, but I still, I paid her for them.
Right.
But then I know all the writers and producers who are coming here to SoulJoel's.
Yep.
And I messaged them. I'm like, hey, man, is there any chance? I was like, they're doing a meet and greet. I'd love to. I'll pay whatever it is if I can get on the. They're like, yeah. Dude, I go in the back, and Sal, who I did my first open mic in the back of his place in Staten Island.
Sal Vulcano,
sorry. Yeah, exactly. And it was just amazing. It came full circle that his first show out of the pandemic was his podcast, Hey Babe, with Chris DiStefano.
Right.
Yeah. And he was just like, this is so amazing. We're so happy for you. I can't believe that that you're doing this, and thanks for having me. And it was his first show that wasn't just a few people. It was like 400 people. It was his first big show out of the pandemic.
Yeah.
But when I brought my friend to the Brigada and we went back, he goes, "You paid for tickets?" Like Sal was mad. And I was like, I've just noticed that on my level, on my level, not his level, 8 shows now, 10 shows on True TV level.
Yeah.
You know, he's got 1 million followers on social media, and all they all do, people ask me for stuff. And I can't imagine the level of that people ask.
Yeah.
I go, I will never ask my friends.
Yeah.
I would never ask. You know, sometimes I don't want to ask some of the guys that come here just to be on this podcast.
Right.
Not imagine like, oh, can I bring these people to meet you?
Right.
No? Okay.
And for free.
By the way, on the cuff. Yeah, so that was probably 2015, 2016.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I was curious about that. All right, cool. Okay, let's see. Oh, total switch up. Favorite Saturday Night Live cast era.
Oh, man.
I love this. I love asking people this.
So I absolutely, I probably, and I don't, if Will Ferrell, Chris Farley. Like that era.
Yeah. So
I
you're
love those
like
guys.
early to late 90s.
Yeah.
I see. My theory that is not much of a theory, but it's I think it's true, is that everybody's favorite era is when they were young adolescents to teenagers.
So that's it.
Yeah.
So I was in high school from 94 to 98. So I think that's probably that era.
Perfect.
But it was also funny, like seeing Daryl Hammond and then having Daryl Hammond at my place.
Yeah.
And having him perform. It's just like
Tim Meadows.
that part. Tim Meadows, surreal.
Yeah, that's wild, man. That's wild. Yeah, man. For me, it was I started in like with in the mid '80s with Lovitz, Hartman, Nora Dunn, and Jan Hooks that very few people don't remember anymore, but they were great.
Right.
And then slowly, Dana Carvey came in, and eventually, and I hung in there through when Farley and Sandler came.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I was out once Farley was out. You know?
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because in retrospect, you see all these great things you missed, like Will Ferrell. I mean, you can watch that whole era; it's awesome. But But I was 18 and I was done. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's funny how that works, isn't it?
Also, real quick, a funny story. One of my buddies was, again, like right when Will left and started making all the movies, like old school.
Oh, yeah.
So apparently he's a teak in the fraternity.
Teak?
A teak. Yeah, they call it. Yeah. It's just the name of the fraternity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The Teak brothers. Yeah.
Okay.
So sorry, you're not a loser.
Yeah.
I forgot how cool you are, Alan.
I've always flown solo, brother.
Yeah.
To my detriment at times.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't pay for your friends in college? Sorry, not everybody wears various Eagles jerseys. Some people wear Greek letters. Pay for their friends and then pay for them.
It's such a poor idea to have contacts and relationships for the rest of your life.
Turns out when I explain, I get to over-explain it to the audience because maybe they didn't know either. So they were filming the movie and they wanted to do a trailer for Comedy Central or whatever show they were doing it to promote Old School, the movie.
Okay.
And they came in and it was my friend Gaetano Barbuto, who I did my first produced show in New York. And it was the one that my sister fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
Because it was open mic. Well, so he was at that. He opened the door, and the site they have they go and scout site locations, right? And they were like, this is perfect. Will Ferrell's a teak. He went to University of Southern California. He would love to film the trailer for Old School here. And I'm like, dude, we just had a party last night. Probably bad timing. He goes, no, perfect timing. Don't touch a thing. We wanted a mess.
Love it.
And they said Will Ferrell couldn't have been the nicest guy. Came and was just doing improving because the groundlings, that's how he started.
Right.
He would go and they had a picture of the on the wall. They call it a composite. Clearly you wouldn't know. But yeah. So he would be like, listen, he goes, our sweetheart of the year was Marianne. Lost my virginity to her. as did a lot of the brothers. Like completely just off the cuff. And like making fun of the cars in the parking lot, and like they're all like the brothers' cars, but Will's making it like it's him and his friends.
Oh man!
And they said just a sweetheart of a guy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Man.
And that's what's like. They say don't meet your heroes, and then all of a sudden you meet one of the guys like this, and you're like, dude, this was great.
And
it's
that's
amazing.
Thing. That's
so
really cool.
I just
cool.
You're just like that's what you would expect a guy like Will Ferrell to be like, but
you never know.
You never know.
You never know. Yeah, man. I love that. All right, what else we got here? Oh, here's a question I would love to know. I think I might know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you watch TV?
So, I don't.
I knew it. I was like, I don't know how you'd have time.
Yeah. Unless there's something like I want to watch the
If
most.
you got a buddy special or something, or
yeah, I want to watch Nate's new special. I want to watch Chris Rock's new special. I haven't watched that. Sometimes I might I wanted to watch Impractical Jokers when John Zaluga was here.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to catch up because I hadn't seen like season 8, 9, and 10, which just came out. I was trying to catch up on that. But at the end of the night, when I'm just laying in bed, dude, I play spades.
No way.
SoulJoel plays spades, baby.
Love it.
Which is normally a black game.
Well, you have a black name. You might as well play a black game.
Sniper number 3. Sniper number 3. The kid is not done yet. I don't know how much time we have, but this is amazing. Yeah. Don't lose your glasses. Don't lose your notes. We're not done yet. So I'll literally, and so I'll start playing, and it's something that relaxes me. It's something fun. I enjoy doing. It's mindless. It takes my thing.
Totally get that. Yeah.
But I'll play it, and like I'm all tucked in, and I'm laying down. It's dark.
Yeah.
I'm in my sister's basement. Shout out to Deanna. What a saint. So, but I'll be so relaxed playing this game, and if you are idle for more than 60 seconds, you'll get kicked out.
So you'll start dozing off. And
I'll doze off, and then I don't know how, but I fall asleep and wake back up within that minute. And I'm like, that was close. Then I'll wake up again, and it'll be like, you've been booted. And then I'm like, all right, time to go
sleep.
Or I'll just wake up with like the phone on my chest. So I just, man, I go from bell to bell.
Right on.
So at least now, since I've been on this journey of trying to figure out where we're going to come, and now being here and getting all the calendar booked out, and now we're working on like the summer, and we have April all booked out. Now I'm working on May and June and the summer. It's been so much, man. Yeah, man. So I just haven't had a second. Is it healthy? Some say no.
Some say no.
Some say no.
But it sure leads to an exciting life.
Yeah. I did watch the new Apollo, though. I took time and watched
right on.
Creed.
Okay.
Creed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
The boxing
I haven't seen
movie.
it yet, but I definitely will.
I enjoyed it. So have I watched TV? No, but I did squeeze in a movie.
Squeeze in a movie around the spades.
On a Monday.
Nice. Hey.
Not mad.
Yeah, love that, man. Love that. All right, good. I like that. That's fascinating. Oh, okay. I don't think we've talked about your first time on stage, but what was your first joke? Do you remember?
Yeah. So, it was towel up.
Towel? Like, okay.
Towel up. So that was my catchphrase, and I would always, that was like my first like close. So I would talk about, I don't know why, but at a certain age, guys just stop caring. So when you go to the locker room and you just see guys just cheeks out, just, and then sometimes having full conversations like, how was your day? I'm like, towel up. Don't ask me questions right now. I'm not looking down there, but I'd feel more comfortable if you were wearing your Eagles jersey.
Dude, you got to bring this bit back. You got to bring the bit back, man.
Towel up.
Dude, that's great. So, okay. I was
one guy when I was working out in Brooklyn, I was still in pharmaceutical sales, asked me if he could lay down and I could just press his back. He was completely naked. I go, I don't know what is going on here. And what kind of bathhouse you think this Bally's is. But I will not be pressing on your back or any other part. Yeah, What is this? Sponsored by Lever 2000.
Oh, man.
I am not pressing on your body, and it is a no for me.
Oh, that's great, man.
But this has been fun. Towel up.
Dude, that's great. I love that. That's a hell of a first joke.
I haven't told that joke in like 10 years.
It's time to dust it off, buddy. It made me laugh right now.
Yeah.
But I had one of those at a local health club years ago when I used to go, I used to swim there.
You're going to catch a steam?
Yeah, well, it was funny because I did everything you could do to avoid actually working out. So I would do the steam. I would go in the hot tub.
How
you
can
know what
I?
I mean?
How can I cause myself to sweat and actually not move?
Yeah, I'd roll out 2 hours later. I hadn't done anything. I'd swim a couple laps. But one day I went into the hot tub.
Yeah.
And it's a crew of old dudes. They're all like, I was in probably my early 30s at the time, and these guys were all at least 60, 70 years old.
Yeah.
And I didn't think about it until I got in the hot tub, but then I started looking around, and on the edge of the hot tub is a pile of swimsuits. And the one guy looks at me, and he goes, "You can take it off, buddy." I was like, "I'm good, bro.
Yeah.
I'm good." It's like, "No, it's nice. It feels good on your balls." I was like, "Well, I guess it does, but no, I'm good." And they just kept trying to get me to take my trunks off, and finally, I just had to leave. I was like, "This is too weird, man."
This is the weirdest form of peer pressure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, go ahead, take them off.
Yeah, it's a hard pass, no pun intended.
Nice. Ooh.
Sorry, fellas.
Oh, that's awesome, dude.
I'm sure it does.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, I asked that one.
Yeah, let's go. We're like 2 or 3 more.
All right. Oh, okay. So we had a fun moment on the pod with Chris Lamberth and
Damian Lemon.
When you talked about how much you loved Busta Rhymes and then didn't recognize the name of the album they were talking about.
Yeah.
Which is hilarious. So I want to know what your favorite style of music is.
Oh.
Is it rap?
It's old school hip hop.
Like
So
90s hip hop?
I tell people I'm a fan of the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I love old school country.
Okay.
I love old school hip hop, and I love grunge and like that era of rock.
Yeah, dig
so
that.
one of my favorite bands to see in person is Pearl Jam.
Mm-hmm.
I've been brought to a lot of Dave Matthews concerts. My friends love tailgating,
Right
and
on.
even if we're not going into the concert, you hear it in the Camden waterfront or whatever they're calling it nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
So I love like those movies, and we would 6-hour road trips with James Mattern, and we would play a game on Lithium that plays the 90s grunge and rock.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
He would not, because it says the name of the artist and the song.
Oh, so you would do like Name That Tune kind of?
Name that tune, brother. He would name that tune, the artist, and the album with 4 bars. You just hear it, and he would. I'm telling you, 99%.
He knows.
The kid doesn't miss.
That dude knows his stuff, man. Like when I met James
Yeah.
is one of the first comedians I ever got to really know at all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And super cool guy. I mean, one of the nicest guys ever. Along with being a funny son of a gun.
Yeah.
And but talking after one of the shows early in Rofo, we started talking about music, and then we were off to the races. You know what I mean? He has a great story about meeting Larry Graham in an elevator, who's the bass player from Sly and the Family Stone.
Right.
That I absolutely love. I bug him about it every time I see him.
Right.
Because I love that story. And that man knows his stuff.
Oh,
And, he plays some too. I've seen some videos of him
Yeah,
playing.
he taught himself how to play guitar.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
I mean, he might have gotten some lessons too, but yeah. And I ended up seeing Busta Rhymes when I was after my freshman year in college, down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I saw Busta Rhymes at like an intimate venue.
Wow.
Yeah, probably couldn't have been more than 300-400 people, maybe 500, but it felt like fewer.
Yeah, that's super cool.
And
I
it was
love
cool.
shows like that, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
Man.
Yeah, I loved it.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And plus, I went to college in Staten Island.
Well, you were in the heart of the Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah. Shallon Hallen. So like I loved it. I'm like, oh my God. Like and once again, like this is what New York's all about.
Yeah.
And you'll love this. I don't think I've ever told this, but we walk out freshman year and it's 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And my friend goes, "That's P. Diddy." And we're like, "No, that's not P. Diddy." And he's like, it's not. And he goes, yo, Diddy. And he turned around and he goes, what's up, fellas? Rich Kotite, former Philadelphia Eagles,
and Jets
was one of my fraternity brothers.
Get out of town.
Yeah. Obviously, different years.
Won't hold that against you.
Yeah. He was teaching Puff Daddy, P. Diddy, Sean Combs, how to play football, like how to throw, because he was up against Jamie Foxx for the quarterback position.
Any given Sunday.
Bam. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Boom, baby. That's force sniper.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which ended up going to Jamie Foxx. But Puff Daddy was on our campus learning how to play football.
That's incredible.
And who was he dating? J-Lo was right next to him.
Get out, man.
And I go, I like literally day 6, I fell in love with New York, like being on campus.
Wild,
and this
man.
is what's because we can
Like,
literally.
This is what it's gonna be like.
This is what it's gonna be like, because you could take where the dorm rooms were, and it's 2 miles across the river, the bay, Hudson Bay, to Manhattan.
Oh, all right,
so you
right
can
on,
see
yeah.
it right from the skyline. I saw that my freshman
It's a
year.
gorgeous campus, dude. My sister went there for.
Oh, right. But
was there a
that's
couple
that
times,
time.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing, man.
Dude.
And we would be in the underage bars, hanging out on a Wednesday night, and Ghostface Killer would drive by in like an 18 like van, black van with just Ghostface written like 1,000 times on in purple. And just weed just billowing out of the van, blasting his own music.
Man, that's wow.
And it'll be like, Ghost, be like, what's up? You know, like just walking, and I'd be like, dude, this is just, it's amazing.
I love that,
Yeah,
man. I love that.
That's why I fell in love with New York, and that's why I lived there for 15 years. And I'm glad I'm here now. But that was a part of my life I always look back fondly on, and got into entertainment and just so many people. And that's why it's like, dude, New York, you can't be starstruck because it's just happening so many times. And I guarantee there's so many times where I might have ran into someone, but and this is before cell phones. I just don't know who they are. So I'm like, this is just, unless it's someone like Seinfeld, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah.
That's amazing, man. You had some seminal moments in that town.
And not to go, but last thing, I was down with the Artie Lang show down in New Orleans, and I'm talking to Anthony Anderson, who's on Blackish, and he's been all over.
Yeah.
But he had just lost like 40 or 50 pounds.
Oh, I
whatever it
remember,
was.
yeah.
And I was talking to him for 4 minutes and didn't realize who he was.
Oh, wow.
What a humbling moment that must have been. Yeah. Then I turn around and it's Joe Buck, because it's Super Bowl week, right?
Jeez.
And he goes, is your name Joel or in fact Joe? Like, do we have the same name, or is yours one letter difference? And I wanted to be like, who gives a rip, Joe? That's why you're such a professional. We're never going to meet again. But you want to know, is our names in fact the same? Or did you say Joel with an L?
And you deal with this a lot.
Yes. Yes. But I can't believe Joe Buck was the one that played it.
Right.
Have you watched me on YouTube? I know the answer because I don't have any videos out there. But, Joe, I think you're familiar with my material. Who cares? Dude, this has been fun, man.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's another episode for Bring 'Em Out. Alan Hill, SoulJoel. We'll see you soon.